what does this latest round of tensions really mean for the region? We're decoding all of that in just a bit. Also on the show for you tonight, a detailed report coming up on the latest from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir as the anger on the ground continues to shoot up. Is this the latest move in Pakistan's arsenal to try and divert attention away from its mounting crises? Also on the show tonight, we get you a special report on the riots in Belfast, what triggered them, and the situation on the ground. All this and lots more coming up. For West Asia, each day is bringing a new jolt, fresh twists and turns with far-reaching implications. After a fresh escalation between the US and Iran, Donald Trump has warned Iran that it will pay a big price. What form will that take? What happens here onwards? And what does this latest round of tensions really mean for the peace negotiations and for the region? Remember, Trump had earlier said a deal was imminent. He reportedly has made a similar claim over 30 times. But there's been no deal in sight, clearly. And as of now, uncertainty continues to plague West Asia as the situation remains extremely precarious. Iran and the United States have traded fresh strikes. In that latest escalation, Washington struck multiple targets in Iran after Tehran allegedly shot down an American helicopter. Tehran also hit back by targeting America's regional partners. Iran and the US had their most serious military confrontations since that fragile ceasefire took hold. Iran targeted America's regional partners in the latest salvo in that tit-for-tat move. First, it launched missiles and drones at US bases in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain. The messaging on part of Iran overall, Iran saying Gulf neighbors have a legal and moral obligation to prevent the US or Israeli operations from their territory. In fact, the incidents came after the US Central Command said it had completed what it called self-defense strikes against Iran. Iranian media, citing authorities, meanwhile acknowledged attacks in several locations near Hormuz, reporting strikes in Keshm Island, port cities of Bandar Abbas and Jask. In fact, Iranian media provided limited details on the strikes earlier, but it reported that strikes damaged a telecommunications tower in Sirik and destroyed 2 water tanks in the city. Just to point out the irony here, in a way, on the 28th of February, the war had started. Remember, earlier, Iran had maintained that it retaliated in self-defense, and today, the US seems to be saying that it retaliated in self-defense. In fact, just a few hours ago, Donald Trump lashed out at Iran, saying the country is all talk and no action. This is what he posted on Truth Social just a few hours ago. I'm quoting, "Iran's military is a complete and total mess. Much of it, like their Navy and Air Force, does not even exist anymore. They have been completely defeated. Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East is dead. They have taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price," quote unquote. That was the statement put out by him a few hours ago. Now, if those words seem familiar, that's because they in a way are. He has, of course, used such terms in the past as well. In April, for example, long ago, he said he was upset with the Iranian regime and that they are going to pay a big price for it. But a lot has unfolded since then. Things could now escalate in a dangerous direction at a very crucial juncture. And this is a major shift in what the situation looked like just a day ago, when Trump sounded optimistic, even saying a deal was imminent and the Strait of Hormuz could open in 2 to 3 days. Trump has basically been insisting that a deal could be reached. Cut to where things stand now. While he put out that post on Truth Social saying Iran has taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them, now they will have to pay the price. Questions continue to hover over what action he intended to take. It's also not clear what this really means for the ongoing diplomatic efforts to try and end the war. Here's what's also emerged. Trump is reportedly considering strikes on Iran's power plants and bridges. Fox News, citing a phone interview with the US president earlier, reported Trump is, quote, getting close to ordering new strikes against Iranian power plants and bridges in response to Iran reportedly dragging its feet on the negotiating table, reportedly. Meanwhile, uncertainty also continuing to brew around where things stand between Trump and Netanyahu. After the growing signs of tensions between the two leaders, in the latest, Netanyahu's party has announced that Netanyahu will be seeking re-election this year. Why is that significant? Because he felt the need to insist that he will be making that move after US President Donald Trump said he was not sure if the Israeli Prime Minister would stand again. In that statement, Netanyahu's party said that he would be running in the election. The election has not yet been formally announced, but must be held by October, remember. But the biggest test right now that faces Trump, Netanyahu, Iran is over what their moves really mean for the region. Will West Asia see another deadly escalation? Where are things headed? And as of now, each passing hour is adding to the dangerous uncertainty gripping the region, where the line between war and peace, escalation and calm continues to grow thinner. Facing stringent criticism over its brutal crackdown in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, Pakistan desperately trying to divert global attention after a relative lull in attacks. Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir's forces launched fresh airstrikes on Afghanistan. As per the Afghan government spokesman, Pakistan violated its airspace and bombed homes in the border provinces of Khost and Kunar, and this resulted in the death of 13 civilians, including 11 children, 1 woman, and an elderly man. At least 14 others were injured in Pakistan's attack, terming this, quote-unquote, a crime. He strongly condemned this act of aggression. Visuals, in fact, showed a spate of destruction, distraught people seen looking for items in the rubble and transporting the final remains of those who were killed in the strikes. In fact, they voiced their anger against Pakistan's barbarity, as they called it.
They attack during the middle of the night and kill innocent civilians. Is this war? Where is the International Criminal Court or the United Nations, who so-called defend human rights? Did they ask about the hundreds who were martyred before?
On the other hand, Pakistan's information minister claimed 26 fighters of the Tehreek-e-Taliban, TTP, were eliminated in what he described as precise and calibrated strikes on the border areas in Afghanistan. He also said that 4 targets, including a training center and hideout, were destroyed. But he remained silent on civilian casualties in Afghanistan. And while both sides agreed to a ceasefire in October 2025, the truce ended in February this year after Pakistan conducted airstrikes on alleged TTP camps in Afghanistan's Nangarhar and another province. However, Taliban said that 18 civilians were killed in the attack. Subsequently, Afghan forces fired at Pakistan military posts and claimed to have killed 55 soldiers. Islamabad responded by bombing Kabul and Kandahar. In March, Taliban accused Pakistan of bombing Kabul's Omar Addiction Treatment Hospital, resulting in the deaths of at least 400 persons. While the fighting temporarily paused during Eid, Pakistan resumed the operations. Thereafter, the situation changed in April, in fact, as China entered the fray. Both sides commenced peace talks at the start of April and held week-long discussions. In April end, Kabul accused Islamabad of targeting the Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani University in Kunar province, resulting in the killing of 7 civilians. And as per a UN report, 372 Afghan civilians were killed, 397 others were injured because of Pakistan's attacks in the first 3 months of 2026 alone. This coming at a juncture when Munir's forces have opened fire and tear gas at protesters belonging to the Joint Awami Action Committee, JAAC, across POK, resulting in the deaths of at least 14 people, while nearly 70 people have been injured. A day earlier, scores of people defied the pressure and hit the streets as part of a shutdown strike. Amid this, Pakistani authorities launched a search operation for 4 JAAC protesters and announced a bounty of over $35,860 in this connection. Protests are still raging. A large number of people, a convoy of cars gathered in the area of Poonch, which has been illegally occupied by Pakistan. Locals continue to stand firm on their support for this civil society group, which is demanding abolition of 12 seats occupied by the Pakistanis in the so-called Legislative Assembly. Listen to this.
ये एक बड़ा मुहज़्ज़ब पुरअमन डिसेंट अंदाज का एहतजाज है, कानून के दायरे के अंदर रहते हुए, आइन के दायरे के अंदर रहते हुए एहतजाज है, मुस्तरद कर रहा है हुकूमत के बयानी को कि ये लोग दहशतगर्द हैं, ये लोग पुरअमन हैं। दहशतगर्द जो है वो हुकूमत है जो जबर के ज़रिए, ताकत के ज़रिए इस पुरअमन सदा को दबाने की कोशिश करती है।
Outrage over the atrocities by Asim Munir's forces continuing in the UK as well. Members of the Kashmiri diaspora gathered in Manchester to hold a funeral prayer in absentia for people killed in POK. Subsequently, they marched to the Pakistani consulate to demand an independent probe into the killings. With Asim Munir igniting a new war front, it seems, even as his forces continue to commit atrocities on the people, all eyes are on how the Taliban will respond this time around. A knife attack has ignited a firestorm in Belfast, with furious crowds torching homes and vehicles as tensions spilled onto the streets. The suspect, in fact, a Sudanese national, is in custody facing murder charges as the police race to contain the unrest. In fact, the area finds itself gripped by one of its most volatile nights in recent memory.
Send them home! Send them home!
Flames light up the night sky. A city bus burns in the middle of the road. Cars are torched. Windows shatter. Crowds surge through the streets as police scramble to contain the chaos. In parts of Belfast, fear spreads faster than the fire. Families flee their homes. Riot officers face projectiles. Streets that only hours earlier were calm are transformed into scenes of anger and disorder. Across Northern Ireland, anti-immigration demonstrations erupt. Some descend into violence. Others watch in disbelief as the city becomes a battleground.
What's this resolve? It's literally destroying our own community. And now two people from their own community lost their property. So it's just a time we build it all up, man. Go down the housing sector and go from there.
This is terrifying. Actually, I'm sad for whatever happened that night. Is unacceptable in our society. And seeing the way things did come out, it was very difficult to watch.
A feeling I'll never get over. Standing there watching my own house get burnt down. Losing everything. But it is what it is now, mate. Don't mean it's...
Behind the chaos is a brutal act, a graphic video that spread rapidly across social media. The footage showed a man being repeatedly attacked within North Belfast. Bystanders rushed in to save the victim before police arrived. As rumors flew and details emerged, grief rapidly curdled into vengeance. Far-right protesters staged anti-immigration protest in London. Authorities and politicians are urging calm.
Mr. Speaker, people are rightly sickened by the horrific attack on Monday night in North Belfast. As you have just said, the man arrested has been in court in Belfast this morning and charged. But let me be clear, Mr. Speaker, the acts of violence and arson that followed are totally unjustified.
Stop looking at this nonsense. Stop listening to these idiots. We will be going after them for the incitement that they've been doing.
The latest bout of violence comes as tensions remain high across Britain, with populist parties accusing the asylum policy of allowing dangerous people into the country. Immigration is a hot-button issue in Britain and has helped the rise of the hard-right Reform UK party led by Nigel Farage. Some politicians say the stabbing should spark a review of the open border between Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK, and the Republic of Ireland. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
On to a Gravitas special report. Gold may be shining brightly in India, but so is the country's illegal gold trade, it seems. After a brief decline, gold smuggling is making a comeback, reportedly, and industry insiders are sounding the alarm. According to a report by Reuters, gold smuggling could cross over 100 tons this year. That is a major spike from 2025, when 20 tons of gold got smuggled in. And what's behind the surge? Last month, reportedly, India raised the import duty on gold from 6% to 15%. This was done to reduce imports, narrow the trade deficit, and support the rupee. The higher duty has created a wide price gap between legally imported gold and smuggled gold, reportedly. But with the demand for the yellow metal remaining strong, buyers are turning to cheaper illegal supplies, and this is fueling a fresh wave of smuggling, reportedly. The recent smuggling trend is a sharp reversal from what happened last year when the government cut import duties to 6% in 2024. Gold smuggling dropped dramatically. Illegal imports fell from more than 156 tons in 2023 to just over 20 tons in 2025, reportedly. Now, with duties back at 15%, the grey market is gaining momentum once again, it seems. In fact, all right, we'll be getting you those updates shortly, but let's cut straight across to Donald Trump speaking.
And try them to do what's right, but we want a deal that's meaningful. We want a deal that works. We don't want to just have a Barack Hussein Obama deal, JCPOA, the worst deal. That was a path to a nuclear. It's the exact opposite. You know, I like on television, they say, oh, they should have kept that deal. First of all, it was over. It was a short-term deal. But that deal was a path to a nuclear weapon. This is a path against a nuclear. You can't have a nuclear weapon. His was a path to a nuclear weapon. They were developing, during his administration, nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, there'd be no Israel, there'd be no Middle East, and they would have absolutely shot at us. So we'll see what happens. But we hit them hard yesterday, and we're going to hit them again hard today, in case you miss it, in case you don't turn on your television set. And we'll see what happens with the deal. We were really close to a deal, but they keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers because, you know what? They dealt with some very stupid presidents. I have to say that. I'm embarrassed to say it. Some very stupid people were sitting there. Yeah.
Mr. President, you mentioned the Senate race in Maine. Are you all in supporting Susan Collins? Does she have your full support and endorsement in her Senate
She does
re-election?
because she's a sane woman. She's not my best friend at all. These guys are. I get along with, but I have some. But she's a sane person, and she's a person that never missed a vote in many years. I mean, she's like had 10,000 votes. She had 10,000 votes. She never missed a vote. Unfortunately, because sometimes she voted against me. You know, look, she's a sane woman, and she's a respected person. Maybe a little different ideology than me, but this guy is a thug. He's a fake thug. He's a phony. I've made a lot of money picking out phonies. He's a real phony. He's a bad person.
Mr. President, are you going to go back to attack, or are you thinking of attacking Iranian power plants and bridges as you've...
Well, I'm not going to say that to you, but I can do that. Look, I could knock out... We have the most powerful... I built the military with these people approving it. They approved numbers that nobody would have ever thought we would have been. But we built it. We gave a lot to Ukraine through Biden. He gave a lot of money, a lot. But we're in great shape. We have a lot of storage capacity. But he gave a lot. And if you look at what's happened, when I left, our cupboards were full. He gave it. Now I sell it to the European Union, and they give it to Ukraine for the most part. But
all right, so there we have Donald Trump continuing to send out that strong message. This, of course, comes hours after he also put out that post on Truth Social where he, quote unquote, said that Iran is all talk and no action, and continued to say that Iran will be paying a big price. That's where the posturing and the stance of the U.S. president continues as West Asia continues to remain on edge. We will be keeping a close eye on those developments, but before we go on any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We get you a Gravitas special report on how and why Europe's jet dreams seem to be crashing and shattering. Why is US President Donald Trump raising doubts over whether Netanyahu should continue to lead Israel into the next election? And why are Israelis doubting Trump's commitment? We get you the details. Imagine a giant water staircase capable of lifting some of the world's largest river vessels and doubling cargo traffic. That's exactly what China is attempting to undertake on one of its most important waterways, reportedly. China has started construction of an enormous $11.4 billion engineering project, reportedly, near the Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River. The project, expected to take 112 months, that's roughly 9.3 years to complete, will be building a new 6,680-meter long two-way 5-stage ship lock system. These giant locks, often called water elevators, lift and lower vessels through different water levels, allowing the ships to pass through a dam efficiently. The initiative has now been incorporated into China's 15th five-year plan for 2026 to 2030 and forms a key part of China's strategy to strengthen domestic connectivity and support long-term economic growth. And the urgency is reportedly clear. The Three Gorges Dam, which stretches across Asia's longest river, has reportedly improved navigation since its construction. That success has reportedly fueled industrial growth along the Yangtze's 6,300-kilometer route linking major economic centers like Wuhan and Shanghai. The river is the world's busiest and largest inland waterway by cargo throughput and traffic volume. In fact, it handles over 4.2 billion tons of cargo annually, but that success has reportedly created a new problem. The existing system is designed to handle 100 million tons of cargo annually, reportedly, a limit that was crossed in 2011, reportedly. By 2025, cargo throughput had surged to 173 million tons. 173 million tons, placing enormous pressure on the facilities that opened in 2003. And China now wants to future-proof the river in a way. And once the new system becomes operational, 10,000-ton class vessels will reportedly move through the dam more efficiently. Annual cargo capacity expected to jump to 336 million tons, almost double the current levels while reducing transportation costs for manufacturers and traders.
The existing Three Gorges ship lock is designed for 3,000-ton single vessels and 10,000-ton fleets. The new channel differs significantly in that it is designed for direct dam passage of 10,000-ton single vessels.
And the thing is, beyond engineering, the project also in a way reflects China's larger economic strategy here, connecting coastal manufacturing hubs with central and western provinces through faster, cheaper, more efficient logistics. And the river is already China's economic lifeline. Beijing's latest mega project aims to make that lifeline even stronger. Another Gravitas special report for you. The AI boom has created a new class of AI millionaires in the US, but advances in AI also triggering questions. In fact, they could be increasing demand for authentic human interaction as well. A new report has hinted at this trend in wealthy tech professionals, allegedly. According to Forbes magazine, Silicon Valley's AI millionaires are reportedly preferring to spend time with companions who are not just attractive, but also someone who can hold intelligent conversations. As per the report, they are soliciting services of escorts who can talk about AI, technology, cryptocurrency. This is not all. These escorts are charging them reportedly anything ranging from $6,000 per hour to $23,000 per day, reportedly. Now, it's worth noting here that escort services are legally permitted, especially in San Francisco, where Silicon Valley is located. However, every US state also seems to be having different measures. As per the San Francisco Police Code, an escort is defined as a person who accompanies other persons to any public or private place for, quote, social affairs and entertainment in exchange for a fee. However, escorts need to be at least 18 years of age and can operate only with a permit, which has to be approved by the police chief. And this also comes at a time when people are increasingly seeking solace in digital relationships. For instance, teenage boys are increasingly building romantic relationships with AI-powered girlfriends, as they are called, on certain applications that basically allow the users to create highly customized virtual companions in just a matter of minutes. A recent report by the organization Male Allies UK has found how deep-rooted this trend really is. It found that 1 in 5 boys aged 12 to 16 are personally involved, allegedly, with an AI companion in a romantic way or know someone their age who is. According to the researchers, around 43% of the boys say they use bots because they could ask questions without embarrassment. Additionally, 26% of the respondents admitted they preferred the emotional connection offered by AI over real-life interactions. As concerns grow that AI companions could deepen social isolation and distort real-world relationships, this new trend among AI millionaires has also come into the spotlight. US President Donald Trump is raising doubts about whether Netanyahu should continue leading Israel into the next election, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show. At the same time, a growing number of Israelis are also questioning whether Trump remains fully committed to Israel's security interests, interestingly. Developments that are also putting Trump and Netanyahu under the spotlight for different reasons and triggering questions about the future of one of the world's most closely watched political equations. During an interview, Trump reportedly cast doubts over whether Netanyahu will run in Israel's next election. In a phone conversation with ABC News correspondent Jonathan Karl, Trump reportedly praised Netanyahu's political career, but questioned whether the Israeli leader wanted to continue in office. Trump reportedly described Netanyahu as a wartime prime minister and said that the US and Israel would soon win the war one way or the other. He also compared Netanyahu's position to his own, saying he also is a wartime president. Netanyahu's party reacted to Trump's reported remarks, stating that Netanyahu will contest the next election and expressing confidence that he will win. The election will be Israel's first since the October 7 attacks, remember, since returning to power in December 2022 at the head of the most right-wing coalition in Israeli history. Netanyahu has faced persistent political challenges. He faced mass anti-government protests even before the conflicts in Gaza, Lebanon, Iran, and the recent Israeli polls have repeatedly indicated that his coalition could struggle to secure a majority in the next election. A survey published on Tuesday itself by the Jerusalem-based Israel Democracy Institute found that 61% of Israelis believe that Netanyahu should not run again. And Trump's comments, remember, coming at a time when signs of strain have emerged in that relationship between him and Netanyahu, to say the least. In recent weeks, Trump has urged Israel to curb military action in Lebanon while Washington pursues negotiations with Tehran. Last week, Trump acknowledged using strong language while speaking about Netanyahu during a heated phone conversation, although he also insisted that the two leaders get along well in a way. At the same time, confidence in Trump's commitment towards Israel appears to be declining. According to the Israel Democracy Institute survey, only 44% of Israelis believe Israel's security is a central consideration for Donald Trump, and this is down sharply from 60% in March, when Israel and the US were conducting joint military operations against Iran. The survey also found deep skepticism about a possible US-Iran agreement. Just 32% of the respondents believe such a deal would eliminate the threat of ballistic missile attacks, while only 28% think that it would weaken the Iranian regime. Only 28%. Europe wants a sixth-generation fighter. The plan basically is to build a faster, smarter, deadlier fighting machine. The aim is to stay a step ahead of the adversary. Airbus-led alliance lobbies Germany on fighter jet project, but history also shows that before such plans leave the drawing board, the politics often brings them crashing back to Earth. Our next report taking a closer look at how, from the Cold War interceptors to stealth jets of the future, Europe's fighter dreams have a habit of falling apart before takeoff. Take a look.
The blueprints are ready. The technology exists. The threat environment is growing more dangerous by the year. Yet once again, Europe's ambitions are colliding with Europe's politics. Behind closed doors, aerospace giants are fighting to shape the continent's next fighter aircraft. Airbus is now leading a push for a German-backed alliance to develop a new sixth-generation combat jet, arguing Europe cannot afford to fall behind the United States and China. The lobbying comes at a critical moment, because another grand European fighter project is already in trouble. The Future Combat Air System was supposed to be Europe's answer to the next generation of aerial warfare. France, Germany, and Spain joined forces to build a stealth fighter. Instead, the project became trapped in disputes. Arguments over industrial control, battles over intellectual property. The disagreements led to the scrapping of the plan. Europe has been here before. In 1957, Britain cancelled the promising Saunders-Roe SAR 177 interceptor. In 1965, the TSR-2 was axed despite successful test flights. 2 years later, the Anglo-French AFVG program collapsed after France walked away. Then came the European Fighter Aircraft Project. France quit in 1985 over leadership and design disputes, choosing to build Rafale alone while Britain, Germany, Italy, and Spain continued with what became the Eurofighter Typhoon. The pattern is striking. Every nation wants strategic autonomy. Every company wants a bigger share of the work. Every government wants jobs at home. And every disagreement adds years and billions to development. Today, Europe faces a familiar choice: build together and compromise, or build apart and pay the price.
On to some big breaking news coming in. Major developments. India has strongly condemned a US strike on a commercial tanker off the coast of Oman and summoned the US Chargé d'Affaires to register its protest amid growing concern over the escalating attacks on shipping in the region. In fact, the move follows an attack earlier on a vessel which had 24 Indian crew members on board. And of the 24 Indian crew on board, 21 Indians have been rescued so far, and 3 Indians are reportedly missing. In fact, let's go straight across now to Siddhant Sibbal, who's been tracking those developments very closely. Siddhant, what more can you share with us?
Development, we know that what has happened this is the second such incident. Now, what has happened is Oman, an Indian crew member was present on the vessel. They are missing. Now, what has happened in around about 45 minutes, India summoned the CDA, the second in command, Jason Meeks, and registered a protest, handed over demarche. The summoning for approximately 30 minutes. And India basically also said that assets, they should not be targeted. And India, of course, reiterated its call of de-escalation in West Asia. Remember that Indian sailors are all, and particularly so in the West Asian region. In fact, Indian vessels are also present in Hormuz as well, and they are stuck for months now. And for India, the big worry remains the safety and security of its sailors. And earlier we saw there was similar incidents involving the Iranian side, and India had summoned the Iranian diplomat, the ambassador there, and today India has summoned the American CDA. So clearly worrisome development for India. India has huge stakeholdership in the region, whether it's energy, whether it's the diaspora, or whether it's the Indian sailors who have particularly been impacted by this, by the incident, the escalations. And today's incident is not the first time that such an incident has happened. When the war happened, the 40-day war, we know that Indian sailors were also impacted, and there was a sailor who was missing as well at that time. So India, of course, is worried about the growing situation, and today's message is clear to the global community that India will not take it lightly if Indian nationals are under attack.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment, Siddhant. Thanks very much for joining us with those updates. And of course, we will be keeping a very close eye on those developments. The legend of Alexander the Great's search for the water of life is one of history's earliest stories about a human desire to live longer. The desire to live longer is as old as human civilization itself. From the myths of immortality and the fountain of youth to the latest medical breakthroughs, humanity has never stopped asking the same question: can we defeat aging and longevity? Today, that question has become a global conversation. Social media, podcasts, online platforms, health influencers seem to be transforming the topic of longevity into one of the most defining discussions of our time. Leaders, scientists, business figures around the world are not viewing aging as an inevitable decline. They are seeing it as a condition that can be understood, and they are asking if it can be delayed. Can aging be delayed? Elon Musk has described aging as an extremely solvable problem. He suggested several times that one day science may identify the biological mechanisms that cause human cells to age. He argues that one day it can be reversed, but he also argues that extreme life extensions could create a major hurdle in the form of societal stagnation. But then the conversation is not limited to Silicon Valley. Last year in Beijing, two of the world's most powerful people discussed the same. A hot mic moment, reportedly, between the Chinese president and the Russian president caught everyone on guard about the future interests of the two leaders, reportedly. Putin suggested Xi Jinping that an eternal life could be achievable as a result of innovations in biotechnology. A previous Lancet study also suggested that longer lives could become a reality in the coming years. A landmark study published in the Lancet predicted that South Korean women could become the first population with an average life expectancy exceeding 90 years by 2030. The internet has democratized the search for longevity, it seems, and it also gives people unprecedented access to information, research, expert opinion, unlike the previous eras. But then the human ambition remains towards longevity, and that remains unchanged. The oceans have many secrets. The deep ocean remains a dynamic ecosystem of which 95% remains a mystery to us. Time and again, the deep water revealing its mysteries. Now for the first time, face to face with one of the Mediterranean's rarest predators, an adult great white shark. Our next report bringing you the complete story.
The ocean never truly gives up its secrets. For centuries, sailors whispered about monsters beneath the waves, creatures that appeared for moments, then vanished into the blue. Scientists searched, divers waited, cameras scanned the depths. Yet some predators remained almost mythical. Then, in the waters between Sicily and Tunisia, something emerged from the darkness. More than 40 meters below the surface, a team of divers was descending towards a shipwreck. They were removing deadly ghost nets, abandoned fishing gear that continues to trap and kill marine life long after it is discarded. And then they saw it, a massive shape, silent, powerful, unmistakable, an adult great white shark. The footage is believed to be the first underwater recording of an adult great white shark in its natural Mediterranean habitat. Scientists say encounters like this are extraordinarily rare because the species is now critically endangered in the region due to overfishing. This sighting follows recent jaw-dropping discoveries in the global deep. Explorers near the Antarctic shelf recently documented a massive 7-meter Pacific sleeper shark thriving in near-freezing waters where no apex predator was thought to exist. Alongside it, a giant bus-sized phantom jellyfish was filmed 250 meters down in the South Atlantic void. Its 10-meter velvet arms billowed like an alien spacecraft. These discoveries reveal a hidden, interconnected ecosystem of ocean monsters. The sudden appearance of a great white in the Mediterranean raises critical questions about shifting currents and altering migration routes. The ocean is active, complex, and alive. These predators are not legends. They are real. They are watching, and we are only just discovering them.
A breathtaking light show captured from space. A NASA astronaut has shared a stunning time-lapse of the southern lights captured from SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft. The dazzling aurora, triggered by a recent solar event, appeared to dance and snake across the skies below, leaving the crew in utter awe. Take a look. It was supposed to be a night about basketball. Instead, the biggest talking points of the NBA Finals seem to have come from the stands. US President Donald Trump received a loud chorus of boos from the fans as he attended Game 3 of the NBA Finals at Madison Square Garden in New York. Take a look. The moment unfolded when Trump appeared on the arena's giant video screen during the national anthem. In his image, flashing across, thousands of fans responded with jeers and boos that echoed through the venue. And Donald Trump attended the match with his granddaughter and several members of his administration. He appeared unfazed by that reception, seated in a luxury suite alongside longtime Knicks owner. The president smiled as the crowd voiced its disapproval, seemingly. The visit marking history, in fact, as Trump became the first sitting US president to attend an NBA Finals game. But then the evening also highlighted his complicated relationship with New York City itself. Remember, he built his business empire, public profile, yet a city where political opinions about him often remain deeply divided. That's been the other point of discussion. For many fans, in fact, to even get inside the arena was a challenge, reportedly. Ticket prices for the NBA Finals soared to thousands of dollars, with some of the best seats costing tens of thousands. Even the New York City mayor paid $1,000 for the ticket, reportedly. The road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup is not just about teams, tactics and trophies. It's also about something far more fundamental: the grass beneath the players' feet. FIFA has invested billions of dollars to transform every World Cup venue across the United States, Canada, Mexico into world-class playing surfaces. The $3.8 billion project will see all 16 host stadiums equipped with hybrid natural grass pitches, even in venues that currently rely on artificial turf. The mission has reportedly been 8 years in the making. Turf experts and researchers have reportedly spent nearly a decade studying how to create surfaces that deliver the same playing experience, whether a match takes place in the heat of Texas, for example, or the cooler conditions of Canada, for example. In fact, different grass varieties have been cultivated for different climates. Warm weather venues will feature Bermuda grass, while indoor stadiums will use specially designed blends capable of thriving under limited sunlight and controlled environments. To achieve that consistency, reportedly, custom-grown sod were raised at specialized farms where irrigation, lighting, weather conditions closely replicate those expected during the tournament. The pitches combine natural grass with synthetic reinforcement fibers, creating durable hybrid surfaces designed to withstand the demands of international football. FIFA says natural grass offers a safer and more predictable playing environment, addressing long-standing concerns from the players over injury risks associated with artificial turf, reportedly. With 104 matches scheduled, FIFA wants every stadium to meet identical standards. Installation work is reportedly nearing completion, and teams of turf specialists are reportedly working to ensure every pitch is fully tested, approved, ready before the world's biggest football tournament kicks off. Our next story is about the World Cup and fashion goals. As teams arrive at training camps across the US, their style statements continue to be a hot topic of discussion as well. A report in The Guardian talking about how these moments continue to be a part of the chatter leading up to the tournament, scoring the fashion outfits, in fact, from the outfits worn during training, their training gear, many other fashion moments, for example. It talks about the fashion statements delivered in style by players like Mbappe. Also, how various brands have worked with teams on suiting and training gear, and how the personal style of the players influences their fans, who keep a close eye on the outfits when the players arrive at training, and even otherwise, of course. And this has been seen already, and this World Cup will only add to the fashion quotient, with players including the Spanish ace Yamal, the Netherlands' Virgil van Dijk, and Conde already posting outfits to their Instagram accounts. For example, according to the report, there are various instances that stand out and have been closely watched, including a Dutch streetwear brand working with the Dutch team, the Spanish brand working with the national team on suits, for example. The report also talking about the French team's off-duty style statements when arriving at their training camp, or how Bellingham's choices, for example, have also been making a mark. It's a huge platform, after all, for various brands. And clearly, with the World Cup about to kick off, the players' moves are being closely tracked both on and off the field. And just a reminder to our viewers in India that the 2026 FIFA World Cup will be live on United Sports and digital streaming app Z5 from June 11 to July 19. All 104 matches will be live exclusively on United Sports channels and Z5. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Kampesh, signing off. Thanks very much for watching.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. Around 169 buildings have been totally reduced to rubble. Every time there's a warning, they just come to this public area where there are around 200 tents, and they reside for a while, and then they go back to their home. Some of the Lebanese people enjoying their time, celebrating, singing, dancing, and some others forcibly displaced. From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION The World is One.
Get the latest updates.
Destroy their
Breaking
missiles
news.
and raise their...
Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is One.
In West Asia, every move shifts the world's balance. Wars, ceasefires, alliances, power never stands still. From Tehran to Tel Aviv, from Damascus to Doha,